President Trump's promise to make America great again is a phrase that brought hope to many economically struggling corners of America. One such place is Beattyville, Kentucky. Many in that town of about 1,200 have been without hope, not just for a couple years, but for generations. Now, the president's promise to bring back American jobs is giving them a reason to look up. CNN's Poppy Harlow went to Beattyville to hear directly from the men and women who see President Trump as their best chance for better days ahead.
I'm very hopeful that the jobs will come back because of Trump.
I guess I'm most hopeful for opportunity and job growth within our area.
I'm hopeful that we will have jobs in Kentucky.
Just to keep our young people here, give them a future.
We have fresh meat in the White House.
It's hard to find more natural beauty than the rolling hills surrounding Beattyville, Kentucky.
I just love this area.
It's beautiful here.
To say folks here are proud of their town is an understatement, and they're no fan of the recent headlines about it.
This is Beattyville, Kentucky, one of the poorest, predominantly white towns in the country. More than half of the people here live in poverty and rely on food stamps. Less than 100 miles from here is where President Lyndon Johnson declared the war on poverty just over 50 years ago.
This administration today, here and now, declares unconditional war on poverty in America.
But for decades, people here have struggled more and more as their factories have shuttered and their coal mines have closed. Now, though, there is a sense of hope that you can feel across this town, something many here have not felt for a long time.
A lot of people are happy. I mean, some even ecstatic that we now can say President Trump.
President Trump won more than 80% of the vote here.
Everybody was excited. Someone told me this morning that in eastern Kentucky that the coal trucks are already out and about.
Donna Coomer has been running this gas station for a decade and knows just about everyone in town.
Hello, Howard.
Hey. Do you feel hopeful after the election?
Absolutely. He's already done more in a week than Obama did in 8 years.
President Trump.
For the American people.
I'm fascinated by what gives people so much hope. What do you think it is?
The change, the fact that I believe he wants to take care of us, the little people, and he understands us better. I think he's going to quit giving money to all these other countries and take care of America.
But for Melissa Allen, hope is hard to find.
Do you make enough to get by?
Not without working 7 days a week, no. I've lived here my entire life. I've lived in poverty my entire life. So there's really no hope.
You're young, Melissa.
No.
None?
Every week you gotta rob Peter to pay Paul. I've had my electric shut off. I've had my water shut off.
Do you get a sense that people here are more hopeful now because of the new president?
It seems like people are, but it's kind of almost like wishing on lost hope. Because it's been this way for so long.
Her livelihood crumbled when one of the town's biggest employers shuttered 6 years ago.
I worked at Line Apparel. We had a sewing factory.
The big factory?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I worked there for almost 10 years.
Were you making a pretty good income there?
I done decent there. One of the only decent paying jobs left. And I was actually the highest paid employee on the sewing floor.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when that factory shuttered?
I did too. I mean, honestly.
Now taking care of her 5-year-old son, Hayden, means 2 minimum wage jobs, working up to 60 hours a week, and still relying on about $100 in food stamps each month.
I don't understand why minimum wage here can't be raised. I don't get that.
More than 43 million Americans are living at or below the poverty line. In Beattyville, the economic decline didn't come quickly. It's been a slow, painful drip of job losses for decades.
So what happened?
Our industry went away. We were slow to realize that. We were the #1 oil-producing county east of the Mississippi at one time. Yeah.
Plenty of money here at one time.
At one time, we were the gem of Eastern Kentucky. I don't blame either party. I blame a system that creates the situation where everybody says everything's wonderful, and it's not.
Chuck Caudill runs the local paper here.
The hope seems palpable.
Well, it is, simply because back here, you know, for the last few generations, we've been getting lots of promises, and there's been a lot of money thrown at the issues.
Help me understand why so much hope is being placed in President Trump.
His bluntness, which is very disquieting to people, is refreshing.
But bluntness may be refreshing. It doesn't always equal jobs.
It does not always equal jobs, but he out and out said, I'm going to give you jobs. There's desperation back here.
Susan Lutz isn't convinced, though, President Trump will bring Beattyville what it needs.
He makes a lot of promises. He says a lot of things that sound great to some people who may not have as much insight into it as they could have or they should have.
Her concern, cutbacks in social programs here.
Those are resources that we need more of. We don't need to lose what we have.
I don't think that Trump has a clue about the little man. You know, when you're born wealthy and everything's been handed to you and you have everything that's in your world that's gold-plated, come to our world. Come and see how we live.
Regardless of party, one constant you hear, something must be done so Beattyville doesn't lose the next generation.
We're losing our young people. They're having to leave after they graduate high school or graduate college. They're having to leave here. And we need good paying jobs to keep them here. They don't expect to make $1 million or something. This is our American dream. This is my American dream, just to raise my family in a safe environment in a small town. And I think that's what a lot of people here want. There's not opportunity for my children here, no. And that's what I worry about.
When jobs leave, I said before, it's just difficult to bring them back in with the infrastructure we have, roads, internet connections.
How much do you guys trust Donald Trump?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I mean, really. You know, I have faith that he's going to work. He's going to work for the people. I have faith in that.
Married 22 years and parents to 3 daughters, Harold and Leandra Schaus share a modest home in the hills with 7 dogs and a lot of love all around.
We were the ones that kind of fell in the crack, you know. In our world, you don't pay your bills this week. You pay a bill. You learn to live humbly.
Leandra's an artist. Harold is a mason. He drives 2 hours each way to and from work because the best paying job he could find close to home only paid $11 an hour.
Do you think most of America really understands
No.
what you lived through?
I think most of America is where we are, and that's why the election went the way it did.
Can Donald Trump help you?
If he brings some jobs in here, like the prison up here is shut down.
Yeah, the private prison.
Right. You know, they open it back up. You know, look how many people they laid off, had to let go. You know, there's a lot of jobs people lost right there.
What's Trump's promise to you? What can he do for you?
Any change from what we've had, and you know what? I understand that Obama has done great for some people, and I'll give him that. It didn't help us. It didn't help us at all.
Do you feel forgotten?
Sure. I don't know why my kids have to work 2 jobs each. We don't want free college. We don't want everything free. We want to keep our sense of pride that we take care of ourselves.
One day they'd like their American dream and their first vacation in a decade.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah. He has said that since we've been married. We will go to the Grand Canyon one day.
The day we landed in Beattyville, the stock market hit a record high. But Dow 20,000 doesn't help many folks here.
For the majority of the people here, the stock market is something interesting to look at.
It's factories like this one, where Melissa and hundreds more made a decent living, that President Trump has promised to resurrect. It's a promise so many here are holding on to tightly.
What gets you by every day?
Hayden.
Do you believe Hayden can have a different life?
I hope he does. I really do. I don't want him, like I said, I don't want him to struggle like I do.
You have to feel for those folks. I'm Boris Sanchez at CNN Center.